Hello, everyone. It's Aunt the Astro Chick, and I wanted to say hey and talk about the full moon for just a minute because it's exciting. It is a blood moon, but we will not witness the actual blood moon as the full moon is exact in the afternoon here where I live. And but we will see the full moon, right? And there's a lot of meaning and good stuff going on with this full moon, whether it is a blood moon or not, right? So being in the sign of Pisces, right? What are full moons? But big spotlights, right? It's when the sun shines all of its light directly at the moon and everything is the darkness is enlightened, right? And moonlight is so much softer and it's internalized in many ways. So it's like shining a light into ourselves because are we not enlightened when we seek within, right? There's a lot of stuff in there that helps us, right? All the answers are within ourselves. And Pisces is a universal sign ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. So there's a mutual reception between these planets that are, it's like the buddy system. And so this is good vibes. And trines are harmonious, flowing energy that just happens, right? And these are uh, emotional elements of water. Okay, Pisces and Cancer are both water signs. So this is an emotional type of moon. And because the spotlight is on Pisces, all right, we're looking within at those areas in our life because the eclipses are happening. This is a North Node eclipse. So the North Node is in Pisces. And we have to look at the way forward in the Pisces area of life. Over the past 2 years, Saturn has been transversing Pisces, and it just went back into Pisces at the anaretic degree, which is the very last degree, the 29th degree. And so, Saturn still has a vibe in Pisces. It has gone through and structures have changed in our lives. If we look to the Pisces area of life, it's my IC, which is my root, my family, and my personal life. And the trine to my eighth house, which is Cancer, is this flowing, beautiful way in which, some things, some relationships, some uh, family stuff has come to an end of a cycle, some naturally. I've had loved ones die in the past year and a half. And so it has been about the change in my family's root, right? Root is what the IC represents, where you come from, and is also, your home in many ways. My home has changed. Most of my children are adults now, right? And Cancer is that house of the eighth house in my chart. And so I'm giving you a relative idea of how this is affecting me harmoniously. The eighth house is the house of change, but it's also a water house. So it's private and it's about the bonds of life, the ways in which we're bound to others and the things we do for them and the things we take care of. And, I think of it in a lot of ways. Like I used to take care of my grandmother and she passed away last year. And so I don't have to take care of her anymore. And also that's like, it's a bond that has just disintegrated, just over because of death, and that's the lesson of the eighth house is some things end, and Pisces as well. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. And so there is a finality or a completion, right, to the sign of Pisces. And so this is very watery energy, right? And a full moon is like a culmination type of event where we might feel a rise of emotion or gratitude or celebration, of how far that we've come, everything we've endured up until this point, because it's been a tough ride emotionally. A lot of people have feelings out there, okay, good and bad. And I think that we've all dealt with a lot because we're in this great transition of time where everything is changing. Everything is changing. Society, the way we live, just our world in general. And it can be unnerving. It could be very unsettling. We have Uranus turned retrograde today. And so, or it's stationed retrograde today because he moves very slowly. So who knows when he's actually going to go retrograde. But stationary retrograde, just standing still. And so as Uranus moves back into Taurus, and finishes up, because this is what these outer planets are doing. These, Saturn and Uranus, and even Neptune, they'll go back to the end degrees of the signs that they've spent years in, right? And so the manifestation, and the change will be finalized, next February for Saturn and Neptune, and next April for Uranus, right? So this end of the year is like finishing up things. But this time here, this full moon in Pisces, it's about celebrating how far that we've come, right? We've had a lot of change, and whether we've dealt with it in good ways or have learned better ways of dealing with it, because it's been a lot, we should see all the endless possibilities. This is another thing with Jupiter ruling this lunation, because it is in an exalted place. Jupiter expands everything, and so it expands the possibilities that come with this way forward that we're taking into the future, the mutable landscape of the future, and it is starting to form, if you've noticed. I mean, this is the finishing up portion of the bridge into the future. So, it's exciting. It's also like, okay, time to go, time to do stuff, time to, pollinate my little garden so that I can grow and manifest the things that I desire, right? And so, I just think, and the moon, no matter what sign it's in, the moon is a very personal energy. It's our emotions, it's our opinions, it's our physical bodies as well. So that's another reason why, like, full moons can be very overwhelming. If you have too much focus in one area, or if you have, it just depends on what you have in your chart as far as how full moons hit. Like for me, I'm just going to be honest, like this squares my Gemini energy, okay? And there's a lot of stuff. I've been very busy doing things, and I've been trying to make things work, and I've been having to change certain things that I do. And it's frustrating, but also it's teaching me something. And I'm hoping that that's the Virgo way of life, because, I'm a Gemini, and Virgo Pisces are my other angles. I'm a Sag rising. And so like I have mutable angles, right? And when this stuff activates and I have squares or oppositions to the mutables, it's almost like I'm meant to bend, and I have to make things work, and I can feel the tension of everything that I need to do, right? But it's also exciting, and it's just happening, okay? Even though I'm working towards something, it seems to be working. And so I have to be grateful for how far I've come, and like everything that I've accomplished. And that's what other people should do. Like, look at the accomplishments and all of the change that you've endured in the area of Pisces in your chart. What could those things look like to you? Because this is a North Node lunar eclipse, full moon. It could also symbolize like the way that you're gaining from the changes that are made in the realm of Pisces. So look at the Pisces area of your chart. That's where the full moon is happening. And when eclipses happen, even if you don't see them, they happen in a specific house. So whatever house Pisces is, that house is, you're moving forward with something. You're going towards something in that house. Okay. We all are, because the nodes transverse, right? And they move backwards. So it'll be, as the nodes move backwards, they'll be going into Aquarius next year. But the thing is, like, they're right in the middle-ish of Pisces right now. So this is like full on Pisces Virgo eclipse seasons. Like we've begun. We haven't had a Pisces eclipse until now. In the spring, it was still Aries. Okay. So this is kind of like the first real like Pisces eclipse type of energy. So it's a good time to pause and reflect upon, that Pisces area of life that has changed. What has changed? What can you be proud of? What changes have you stuck with? What have you endured? And how far that you've come. And like now it's like, how are we finishing up this energy, right? Because in the next 6 months, that energy is going to be finished up, because eclipses are 6 month energies, but also Saturn is going into Aries in February, end of February. So it's like we're finishing up with a lot of this energy in Pisces, and with the eclipses, but also with Saturn. So look at the structures that you have built in Pisces areas. Look at all the change and be proud of it, and also celebrate whatever you have manifested in those areas, because it certainly hasn't been easy. Pisces is very you just can't grab it. It takes a lot of work to contain water. You have to build your own containers. So there's working with creating systems and creating an organized way of thought, which is where Virgo on the other end of that axis comes in with the practical skills. And so once again, think of full moons. The sun and the moon are opposed to one another, so there's a consciousness here, and the Virgo sun is showing the Pisces part of life. The Pisces moon, it's shining its light of organization, and skill at preparing and processing things, and making containers for parts of our life that we need containers for. So I hope that you have a wonderful full moon in Pisces. I will. I get to celebrate a birthday for a little boy, and I'm totally excited. That is where that trine between the moon and Jupiter is working also, because I'm making new bonds of family and exchange, right, with new people in my life. And so I have like this very flowing type of energy of new stuff coming in, even though the old stuff has gone. And it's like a bittersweet type of energy for me. But life is to be lived. So I'll talk to you guys next time.